Good afternoon. It's painfully ironic that we're here on the 3rd anniversary of Hurricane Harvey making landfall in Texas, facing yet another potentially devastating storm. But here we are, and this one certainly can cause unprecedented devastation. Overnight, Laura began to track further west. That means it's edging closer to Harris County and the Houston metropolitan area. Hurricane warnings have been issued from the west end of Galveston, including Harris County. Let me make this as clear as possible. All of us need to be prepared for the very real potential of a direct hit from this storm. This is truly when we have to say, prepare for the worst. Of course, we hope for the worst. We hope for the best, but we don't want to find ourselves unprepared for the worst case scenario, which is certainly possible. For us here in Harris County, depending on the final path, we could get 3 to 5 feet of storm surge, or we could get a lot more than that. We are looking at that potential surge above the ground on the east side of Harris County. A worst case, but certainly possible scenario would mean potentially devastating surge along our coastal area. Inland, it could mean wind and power outages from that. Based on the latest projections from the National Hurricane Center and their storm surge unit, which shows potential surge impacts to zones A and B, effective immediately, I am formally declaring a voluntary evacuation of residents in evacuation zones A and B in Harris County. These are the coastal areas of Harris County bordering Galveston Bay. This includes parts of Seabrook, Baytown, Taylor Lake Village, Soar Acres, LaPorte, Morgan's Point, Nassau Bay, Friendswood, El Lago, Deer Park, South Houston, portions of Pasadena and Clear Lake. These zones are based on your zip code. Please check out readyharris.org to see if your zip code is in Zone A or in Zone B. For folks whose zip code is in either of these zones, what does this mean? We are asking you to evacuate those areas immediately. Do not wait, hoping the forecast will improve. Take action now. Take only essential items you need, including items to protect against COVID-19. Don't forget about supplies for your pets. Don't forget about your pets. It's fine if you go to Katy, to Cypress. If you have a choice between going north or going west, go west. To help facilitate evacuations here and in our neighboring counties, I've also ordered the Harris County Toll Road Authority to waive the tolls. Let me take a moment to share the seriousness of the threat of storm surge. The number one cause of death from hurricanes and tropical storms is drowning and flood-related injuries. Do not think of storm surge as just a bad tide, a really high tide. It is deadly, and you can't outrun it at the last minute. Just 1 to 3 feet of storm surge is enough to knock folks off their feet. It's enough to float your car away. 3 to 6 feet will drown you and your pets. It could cause mass destruction of property, so please take this seriously. That's why we're declaring this evacuation. There's destructive waves on top of that storm surge that we mentioned, so something to be very, very careful with. So that is for folks in zones A and B along the coast. Now, for folks not along the coast, you also need to be prepared right now. First, please stay put so that folks along the coast can leave. Please limit your travel to essential needs. Keep off the roads as best you can. That said, we need you to be prepared to shelter in place. Remember, we expect this storm to be not so much a rain event as a high wind event. So we'll be feeling those wind impacts, perhaps, all throughout our community. We shelter from the wind. So we'll say if you're not along the coast, if you're not in zones A and B, we will be sheltering from possible wind. And of course, there's always the threat of power outages. So make sure that you're prepared for prolonged power outages, that you have supplies to last you at least a week, that you've made those preparations now. Folks along the coast are the ones that need to leave. In preparation for any immediate needs post-storm, we're in touch with the Red Cross to coordinate shelters. We've requested 75 trucks of water, ice, MREs from the state to stage here in Harris County, and all our partners and jurisdictions are in communications. I'm in touch as well with all the mayors of the affected cities. Folks are going to be watching from around the country. They're going to be watching us here in Harris County, and when they do, let us show them that we helped each other. Harris County residents have time and time again pulled together during these dangerous weather events, and we're going to do it for Hurricane Laura too. Let's hope for the best, but we must be prepared. We can count on one another. We are strong. We are resilient. So let's work together because we're stronger together than alone. When it comes to emergencies like these, particularly right now, I know with COVID, it's a lot. But don't be scared. What we need to do is prepare. Prepare for what is likely and prepare for the threats that are coming our way. Ultimately, this is life on the Gulf Coast. Living through these challenges is what's built the character, the grit, the courage of our community, and we have many great things to be thankful for. So we'll keep everyone posted. Please stay abreast of your local media, local elected officials, and remember, along the coast, please, if you're in zones 1 and 2, please evacuate. If you're inland, make sure you have a full tank of gas, that you have preparations for sheltering in place if necessary. Mayor Turner is here with us this afternoon. Mayor Turner, thank you so much. Mayor will speak, then I'll repeat my remarks in Spanish and we'll take any questions.
Again, let me thank you, Judge. Let me thank you for your leadership and the seriousness that you're taking this storm. So thank you, and I ditto all of the remarks that you made today. Let me just say that the tracking of this storm has been somewhat unpredictable. But what is consistent is that this is a dangerous storm, and it has gone from a Category 2 to now a Category 3, and who knows where it may end up. So I do want to emphasize people taking this storm serious. And I know over the last several days there has been talk, and we've talked about this storm veering to the east, affecting more so Louisiana. And then there's been conversation about the storm coming right between Texas and Louisiana. But what is occurring is that it seems as though this storm continues to veer to the west. And in veering to the west, that's including the Houston area. And so let me encourage people to take this storm very serious. And do not assume that it's not going to hit us. Do not assume that we've escaped other storms in the past. So please take this storm very seriously. At this point, you should be well underway in preparing for this storm. If you are not, you're already behind the curve. So you should be well underway. Your hurricane kit and everything that you need, you should have that in your possession. But let me emphasize that this storm is scheduled to hit land somewhere around midnight on Wednesday. And so you have in between now and then to really fine-tune your preparations. Let me emphasize the voluntary evacuations for zones A and B, and specifically as it relates to Houston. There are three zip codes: 77058, 77059, 77062, that are down on that far southern end of the city of Houston, and that far southern end, that Clear Lake area, that are a part of the voluntary evacuation. So I want to encourage people in that area, but quite frankly, throughout the entire city of Houston, to take this storm very, very seriously. Let me say that this is more of a wind rather than a rain event, a wind and potential storm surge. So please bear that in mind. This is not Harvey. It's not Tropical Storm Imelda. but it is a serious event. For those of us who were around during Hurricane Ike in 2008, we remember when Hurricane Ike came through, people lost power pretty much throughout the entire city, and people were without power for 2 weeks. So I want you to prepare as if there's going to be a lot of people without power. And what that means is that if you have refrigerators full of meat, things like milk, please understand when there's no power, those things are subject to be ruined. And so provide food that can withstand you losing power, and prepare accordingly. I also want to encourage people to check on individuals, critical care persons, people who will be at home. If you haven't already signed up with Centerpoint, for example, then make sure that we are taking care and and watching over individual seniors, people with disabilities. And again, I want to encourage those two populations to make sure that you are registered with the STEER program, and you can do that by calling 2211. Let me just say that this is a serious event, and we need to take it seriously. Because at this point in time, if it veers further to the west and becomes more of a direct hit on Houston-Harris County, you don't really have a whole lot of time. I want to say for city employees, tomorrow will be a short day. At 2 o'clock, we're going to wrap it up at 2 o'clock, with the exception of our essential employees. So at 2 o'clock, we're going to wrap it up with the exception of essential employees, people that we need in order to keep people safe during the course of this storm. By 8 o'clock tomorrow in the city of Houston, you should be off the road. Quite frankly, you need to be planning between now and then, but by 8 o'clock in this city, the road should be clear except for essential personnel, because the winds are going to start picking up. And then bear in mind, once you get around those tropical storm winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour, it's going to be it's going to be dangerous for our first responders to be out there. So at 8 p.m. tomorrow, if not sooner, 8 p.m. tomorrow, if not sooner, the roads in the city of Houston should be clear. You ought to be wherever you're going. And because of COVID-19, let me encourage people, for example, to be sheltering in place. You need to be with family members or friends, people that you know. It's the best place if you're not at your own home. And then make sure that you have your masks, your sanitizers, all of the things that are needed, because we still have to be mindful of COVID-19. So, Judge, let me thank you. Look forward to working with you as we work together to get through it. And I echo your sentiments. We will get through it. We have been battle-tested time and time again. So whether it's Rita in 2005, Hurricane Ike in 2008, Harvey in 2017, we will deal with Hurricane Laura as well. But do take it seriously, okay? And bear in mind when, okay? So if you've got furniture outside of your home, patio furniture, things that are loose that can be projectiles, you need to really survey around your home and make sure you don't have any sort of furniture items that can get caught up in that wind and turn out to be projectiles, okay? And then bear in mind, Public Works is not putting out barricades because they too can be potential projectiles. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be very careful when you're out on the roadways. But by 8 p.m. tomorrow, the roads in the city of Houston should be clear. You ought to be where you need to be between that time and, let's say, noon on Thursday, okay? Okay, thanks, Judge.
Mayor, thank you so much. And I should also note, effective immediately, our emergency operations here is going up to increased level of readiness, now level 2, which is the second highest level of readiness in anticipation for the storm, and that is on Tropical Storm Laura, or the hurricane now. Ahora repito en español. Es un poco irónico que ahora en el tercer aniversario de Harvey estamos enfrentando otra tormenta posiblemente devastadora. Anoche la tormenta Laura empezó a acercarse más hacia el occidente. Eso significa que se está acercando más y más al área del condado Harris, al área de Houston. Es una amenaza un poco más grave en este momento. Ya estamos bajo advertencia de huracán desde la parte oeste de Galveston, todo el área incluyendo la costa del condado Harris. Déjeme dejar esto muy, muy claro. Todos debemos estar preparados para un potencial huracán en nuestra área. Debemos prepararnos para esa situación, la cual es posible. Obviamente esperamos que no vaya a suceder, pero es bastante probable. En este momento estamos esperando una marea alta, marea ciclónica de 3 a 5 pies, por encima del nivel normal en el área este del condado Harris a lo largo de la bahía de Galveston. Es ciertamente posible que pueda haber alta marea, todavía más alta de eso, mucho más alta. Es posible que los vientos impacten el área del condado adentro, todo el centro, hasta el occidente del condado, y es posible que se vaya la luz, que perdamos electricidad por esto, así como sucedió en el huracán Ike en el 2008. Basado en las proyecciones del Centro Nacional de Huracanes, basados en su unidad de mareada ciclónica, el cual refleja posibles impactos para las zonas A y B en el condado Harris, y efectivamente, inmediatamente estoy declarando una evacuación voluntaria de los residentes en las zonas A y B en el condado Harris. Esas zonas son las áreas costeras de nuestro condado a lo largo de la bahía de Galveston. Incluye parte de las ciudades de Seabrook, Baytown, Taylor Lake Village, Shore Acres, LaPorte, Morgan's Point, Nassau Bay, Friendswood, El Lago, Deer Park, South Houston, Pasadena y Clear Lake. Entonces, busque su código postal. Basado en su código postal sabrá si está en las zonas A o B. Esa información está en readyharris.org. Para aquellas personas que viven en esas zonas A o B, ¿qué significa? Les estamos pidiendo que por favor evacúen inmediatamente. No esperen a que mejore el pronóstico. Lo más seguro es que no va a mejorar. Por favor, tomen acción ya. Lleven simplemente los materiales esenciales, obviamente incluyendo materiales para protegerse contra el COVID, lo que necesiten para sus mascotas, no olviden las mascotas. Pueden ir a Dallas, San Antonio, está bien. Si van a Katy, a Cypress, si tienen la opción de ir norte o ir hacia el oeste, preferible ir al oeste, hacia Austin, hacia San Antonio. Para facilitar las evacuaciones tanto del área del condado Harris como otros condados que están evacuando, hemos eliminado los peajes en nuestras vías en este momento. Déjeme explicar un poco la seriedad de esta amenaza de mareada ciclónica. La causa de muerte número 1 de huracanes, tormentas tropicales, es el ahogo, las situaciones que ocurren cuando hay esas altas mareas. No espere que esto va a ser simplemente algo que pasa y no tiene impacto. Puede realmente llevar a la muerte, a impactos bastante peligrosos. De solamente 1 a 3 pies de marea alta es suficiente para tumbar a una persona, para llevarse un carro. Más de 3 a 6 pies puede ahogar a un adulto, puede ahogar animales, puede causar destrucción masiva. Es por eso que estamos declarando la evacuación el día de hoy. Además, encima de esa marea alta vienen las olas. Estos 3 a 6 pies de los que estamos hablando es solamente la marea, pero a eso se le sube las olas causadas por los vientos. Entonces, por favor, tomen esto seriamente. Aquellas personas que no viven en las áreas A y B, aquellas personas que no viven a lo largo de la costa, también deben tomar precauciones. Primero, por favor, quédense aquí, no evacúen, intenten mantenerse fuera de las vías para que aquellos que deben evacuar puedan hacerlo y puedan hacerlo de una manera segura. Estén listos para tener que permanecer en casa varios días. Es posible que se vaya la luz. En el huracán Ike se fue la luz casi 2 semanas. Entonces, por favor, obtengan provisiones, comida no perecedera, medicinas, lo que necesiten para sus mascotas, para su familia, esté preparado. Recuerden que nos protegemos del viento. Esperamos que vengan vientos fuertes, vamos todos a estar en casa, en refugio, y la marea alta, ahí sí es cuando las personas que están enfrentando esa marea alta son las que deben salir. El resto de nosotros que vivimos más al centro de la comunidad es quedarse en donde estamos. Entonces, llenen también su carro de gasolina, no olviden eso, estén preparados para si se va la luz, tomen todas esas precauciones ahora mismo. Estamos en contacto con la Cruz Roja, estamos en contacto con el Estado, hemos pedido ya agua, hielo, comida del Estado para estar preparados. La verdad es que el país nuevamente nos estará observando aquí en el condado Harris. Y cuando empiecen a reportar los impactos, la situación, quiero que les podamos mostrar el carácter de esta comunidad, este carácter de compasión, de ayudarnos los unos a los otros. Los residentes del condado Harris, vez tras vez, nos unimos para pasar estas situaciones peligrosas. Somos fuertes. Entonces, trabajemos nuevamente en eso. Sabemos que si trabajamos juntos, seremos mucho más fuertes de si lo hacemos como individuos. En cuanto al temor que sé muchos puedan estar sintiendo, es difícil. Esto sumado con el virus, pero no tengan miedo, simplemente a prepararse. Este es momento para prepararse. Entonces, aceptemos que así es la vida en el Golfo. Hay muchas cosas muy positivas de vivir aquí, pero estos retos son los que han construido el carácter de nuestra comunidad, entonces ahora a enfrentarlos. Por favor, prepárense y si viven a lo largo de la costa, por favor, evacúen. Muchas gracias.